Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht, part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays is my good friend, Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
First in the West. Hey, it's amazing.
It is amazing. That's great. Feels good. Looking at the standings right now. I'm looking at them right now. 42-18. Thunder sit atop of the West. The Timberwolves lost yesterday in a game that felt like it was from a time machine because it was a ridiculously low-scoring game for the Timberwolves and Clippers. It was 89-88. It's like, what? It's like, that was it was a bizarre game. Yeah. It was in the mud, and the Clippers just pulled it out there at the end. So the Thunder sit there with the Timberwolves and Nuggets at 42-19. Thunder at 42-18. They do play the Los Angeles Lakers tonight in LA. And I'm very curious to see what this game looks like. The Lakers can be anything, you know? They can be absolutely anything. They can be hot garbage, or they can look like a team that people are like, do you think they can really make another run to the finals? You know, I mean, we just don't know.
Only and precisely with that kind of voice, though.
Yeah, exactly. But we do know the Thunder beat the Suns yesterday. It was a wild one. It was a range of emotions. It was a range of defensive effort, I would say, throughout the game, where the Thunder started out horrifically, so bad. And some of it was like Josh was just like not engaged at all. It was really just weird. It was just a really weird start. Yeah. And then they fought back, and then they fought back to the point where they were like, they outscored them by like 20 plus. And you're in the third quarter and you think, okay, great. The Thunder's going to cruise to this win. And nope. The Suns fight back. They get the lead. I have people in my mentions. I think that they're up like 6 or 8. The Suns are. And people are like, this game's over. This game's over. I'm like, I don't know. There's still a lot of time left. Thunder can do a lot of things. And then they fight back and play just a fantastic fourth quarter. I mean, the Thunder were really, really good defensively. Some of it was, to me, specifically the personnel that played a majority of the minutes in the fourth quarter was a huge part of it. And I think we have to stop doing this as a community of people, and we need to talk about Shea first. Because Shea was so good in that fourth quarter. 5 of 7 in the fourth quarter. 11 points, 2 boards, an assist, a steal, and a block.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter.
A block from KD, nonetheless.
Yes. He was amazing in the fourth. It was just about getting to that spot, just kind of below the elbow. If he just kind of slithered his way there, and it was with multiple defenders, it was just like fall away, just everything was going in for him in the fourth quarter. And they had to fight back to get there. And the moment that he got in, it was just over. And also a beautiful like backdoor pass to Shea from Kenrich after a timeout. That was really nice. A play where Shea hits, and I'm like, I'm obsessed with this moment. And I think some of you guys know it. I've already made a video about it, where Shea drives on Grayson Allen, spin moves, hits Grayson Allen in the face with the back of his head. Shea, like, genuinely is just like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, what is happening? He said he could, after the game, he said he could feel, something hit the back of his head. He didn't really even know what it was. And this was like this was such a dumb moment in the NBA where it's like, okay, let's review for a hostile act. A hostile act? It's the back of his head. Either it's
you can do a lot with the back of your head.
Yeah, either it's an extreme compliment to Shea, thinking that he could spin move and like judo chop, Grayson Allen with the back of his head, and that it's just like, wow, like this is mind blowing. What a great thing this guy could do. Or it's just like pure idiocy, where it's like, well, I think it did hit him in the head. Did he get hit in the head? All right, let's go review it. Review a hostile act, okay, and then they review it. No hostile act. Duh. Duh. It's not hostile. That was ridiculous. And then it was still called an offensive foul. An offensive foul? The dude just spun. He just spun, and Grayson Allen just stuck his face in there and got smacked in the face. You know what? Learn your lesson. Don't put your face right at the back of someone's head when they're spinning. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, they have to challenge it. They had to challenge the play after they reviewed it.
Yeah.
And I made this video today, and you can see the official, Pat Frayer, smirks whenever Mark challenges it, because and part of him is probably like, this is so dumb. Like, I can't believe we have to do this.
Yeah.
And then anyways, they review it, and the Thunder get the 2 points. I mean,
which was also a wrong decision, by the way.
Because
it would be
or because he
traveled.
Yeah, he did. He took 3 steps. Nurk was on it, because if you
I saw that.
Nurk is doing this. He took 3 steps.
Yeah, he took that. He took 3 steps. It would have been like amazing.
It was totally a travel. It was unbelievable. It is the craziest play.
Yeah.
It is.
Can you imagine if Phoenix had like a challenge still, and they would challenge that?
Oh,
like it would have been amazing. Truth to be told, I decided to sleep a little bit more this morning, so I watched the second half only on all possessions. So that part, I completely lost it. I just saw that they were awarded 2 points. I said, okay, fine. Where's the foul then? And then I did not bother to check. But I saw the video after someone in the group chat said, yeah, that possession was nuts. Probably John.
Yeah.
No, John on Thunder After Dark.
Thunder After Dark, he talked about it. It was crazy. I'm genuinely like obsessed with that moment. Like, it's just like one of those like small like loopholes within all of these rules where you just like look at the NBA. It's like, none of this really makes that much sense. Like, what are we doing? And it just shows like the idiocy of some of it, just on full display for everyone to see on ESPN. As like Doris Burke is like, hey, what is going? Like, Doris Burke called it in like 4 seconds. She's like, I don't think that's a foul, even, And then we had to like sit there for like another 5 minutes.
Doris is amazing. By the way, something that I want to say about Shade, which is completely obvious, but when he takes a shot from the free throw line, there are some times where he doesn't have the right elevation. He's going backwards. And there is a way in which he shots the ball, which is basically is willing the ball into the basket. It seems like a video game. Where I said, okay, I'm shooting now. Ploof, and the ball goes directly into the rim. It's insane. Like, it's very, very, very difficult to guard a guy like this, because what can you do? If you stay a little bit closer, then he tries by you. If you give him space, then he's just hitting jumpers and or threes, depending on what he likes, not what you like. So it's awesome that we are watching Shea every single day, even in the game against San Antonio, which was terrible. You have this guy who is unbelievable, and on the other hand, you have a guy that is clearly not playing well. And I know that we are not supposed to be too harsh on young guys trying to find their rhythm, their role into a team. And I'm fine with being not okay on offense, with being not the best on offense. That is okay. But starting the game like this on defense for Josh Giddey, no, that should not be. That should not be.
Yeah. Well,
you're fighting for your starting job, or you're supposed to.
Sure.
And this is the way? I really don't like it. And it was not the only one. But like, come on, man.
True. He was not the only one. Mark gave him the hook really fast. He played
4 minutes.
4 minutes and 23 seconds in the first quarter, and that was it. And then he played a good chunk of the second, and it was actually pretty good in the second quarter for the Thunder. He was a +3 with 7 points, an assist and a steal. I thought he was pretty good in the second quarter. And then he played another 7 minutes in the third, and then he didn't play a second in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. He was okay in the second quarter, in the third, because he had 2 threes that went in. That's it.
There were some other things that he did, but I generally agree with you, and I think Mark does too. Because if he didn't agree with you, he would have played more than 19 minutes, and he would have played in the fourth quarter. But I think, J-Dub played the whole fourth quarter. J-Dub was awesome in the fourth quarter too. 8 points, 2 boards, 2 steals. He was really, really good. Chet played 9 minutes. Shea played 8 minutes, 27 seconds. Hayward played a little bit in the fourth quarter. Kenrich played a few minutes. Cason Wallace played a big chunk. And then Aaron Wiggins played the whole fourth quarter, and I thought he played really well. So, but it was all about Shea and J-Dub in that fourth quarter. They combined for 19 points in the fourth quarter, which they were just tremendous. Cason Wallace hit the corner step back 3 to tie the game at 101, and then Shea and J-Dub just kind of took over from there. And then I think they had the right role players in there. You had Aaron Wiggins in there who played the whole fourth quarter, who contributed at a really high level. I think that's where it's moments like that make me think, I trust Mark to do this, job, because that was a game that you really wanted to win. You have the second night of a back-to-back the next night. This game was in reach, and I think they played the right guys. Wiggins had that ended up being a steal on Kevin. It looked like it was going to be just an easy dunk for Kevin, the way that he maneuvered throughout the defense. And, I think Wiggs was right there for him. And it was quite impressive. That was a really, really nice little stretch there. And then, Wiggs also had there was out of sideline out of bounds play where the ball was being thrown in, Wiggs tipped the ball in and then gets a breakaway dunk.
Yeah.
That I think gave them a 4-point lead. It's just like those little moments that Wiggins is not going to be some great player, like a guy that comes in and scores 25 points, but you need guys that come in and can fill in the gaps, because you have the guys that can deliver the 19 points in a quarter. What you need is who fills in the gaps. I think Cason Wallace is a really good guy to do that. I think Wiggins is a really good guy to do that. I think the play, I was trying to find it. Oh yeah, here it is. Because Kevin seals Wiggins, and they actually credit him with a block on that play where he blocks Kevin at the rim. It's just those little moments that could have changed everything for just a second there, where Wiggins is just there to fill in the gaps. Because that would have made it a 5-point game with about 3 minutes left. But instead, J-Dub goes to the other end of the floor and scores, and it turns that into a 9-point game. It's those little things that guys like Wiggins does that really helps this team, fill in the gaps so that you can allow Shea and J-Dub to kind of deliver the entire game for you.
Yes. And regarding what felt like a 45-1 run that Phoenix had.
Yeah.
In part was the defense. But not all of that was the defense. I think that in that span, the two teams generated equally good opportunities from 3. Mm-hmm. Phoenix hit them all, and OKC hit nothing. Mm-hmm. It was Cason Wallace hitting a 3 after minutes.
Yeah.
But Isaiah Joe had 3 wide open threes that he missed. Which, what can you do? I think that the issue that they have is you need to find a way to stop the Avalanche anyway. You cannot rely on 3 balls after 3 balls only because they were hitting those. It's not the only weapon that you have. You need to be a little bit more mindful. I think that was the issue, and also a little bit more of a attention on offensive rebounds. But it's not that Phoenix was creating these amazing shots compared to OKC. Like OKC allowed Saban Lee to take 2 threes, and he made one. So yes, I'm a little bit worried that they didn't stop the Avalanche a little bit before. Like
Mm,
you're up 20. You need to stop that when you are around 10 at most. You need to find ways. Call 3 timeouts. Do something.
yeah.
They weren't able to do that. And I know that you don't want necessarily to correct everything because learning through mistakes is also important. But, I would have loved to see something different. And I'm sure that Mark would have loved as well. But he decided, hey, they need to know, they need to understand themselves what to do in these situations. They need to be just a little bit better and they need to trust each other. So I think they did it. And I mean, as soon as the luck for Phoenix ran out, which happens when you're shooting the ball too well, the game corrected itself. And then Shea and Dub put the icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to put some context in the fact that yes, that run happened, but also that run was made because some shot went in and some shot of players that should be able to hit shots
Yeah.
weren't able to do so.
Yeah. I mean, Isaiah Joe went 0 of 4 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Shea missed a 3. J-Dub missed a 3. Dort missed 3 threes. I think some of it too is, I mean, they took 12 threes in the third,
Yeah.
which they were kind of settling. You know how many threes they took the whole fourth quarter?
2, 3?
Took 4. So they were 1 of 4. It was the Casey Wallace sidestep in the corner. That was the only 3 they made. The rest, it was like toward the hoop. It was about finding their spots. Whereas in the third quarter, it felt a little bit like they thought they could just coast to this win, hit enough jumpers. And there's been games where that's happened, where they've just like hit enough jumpers to keep that distance. And, you just cruise to a win and the other team just puts in bowl, like that's kind of what you just was. I think that's what it looked like was going to happen because there was a lot of luck going the Thunder's way too. Like a ball just like bouncing into Shea's hands, Nurkic, we need to talk about Nurkic, but like Nurk is like, and I'm sure that he's a maddening player to have on your team because he'll do like amazing things like he did last night statistically, but then just like have the dumbest turnovers ever. Where like there was the one where he compounded his issue where he basically like did a dribble handoff to nobody and just like dropped the ball. J-Dub gets it, drives the length of the court, and then Nurk is behind him and fouls him. 3-point play for the Thunder. And it's like, man, there's like those moments. But then like he had 12 rebounds in like the span of like 6 minutes into the game. And the interview was really funny. The interview was really funny with Mark Daigneault, who was just like kind of like baffled that he was like, yeah, it's 12 rebounds. They gave a Nurk kind of bullied them in this game. It ended up not mattering. And it's like kind of like the ultimate test it's like a really funny test for the Thunder because he had 31 rebounds, 13 offensive boards, 18 defensive boards. I mean, that is just bonkers. Nobody else on the Suns had more than 4 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
Nurk just absolutely ate them alive. And yet, like, the Thunder still win this game, end up winning it by 8. The Thunder only out-rebounded Nurk by 10, as a group, which is just wild. But it's just like this funny position that the Thunder have put themselves in where like that's still somewhat of a problem. If you mitigate that, like you blow the doors off this team. Like it's over.
Yeah.
You just like have a little bit more physicality with Nurk and allow him to have 20 rebounds instead of 31 rebounds. I mean, it's just, and I know like I've been one to kind of preach that like the rebounds don't matter all that much. And like, what are we talking about? We're talking about a team that's now first in the Western Conference, second in net rating. They won the game, I mean, they lost the rebounding battle 50-41, but still, I think even the Thunder could admit as much that like the physicality overall needed to be more consistent because there were times where it was consistent and they did play well and they did play physically and the rebounding problem was not really there. I mean, it was 8-10 in the fourth quarter, where it was out of control was in places like the third quarter was, and some of this was the Thunder just missing and the Suns were making, but 18-8, like that the physicality, you could see it. Like you could see it tick down, at
Yes.
times. And
Yes.
that's to me that is just like a pure lack of like maturity as a team, but then they somehow scrounge up the resilience to get back into the game. I mean, it's just a fascinating game to watch, honestly, because it was like so many like little test cases of like what this Thunder team is this year, all on display all at once.
Yeah. And granted, when you have Nurk, Durant, Royce O'Neal, and you have size compared to Dort, Casey Wallace, Isaiah Joe, and if guys like Giddy and Dub and Wiggins, they don't fight as much as they should, Shea
Yeah.
even,
Yeah.
then you're going to lose the rebound battle. And Chat didn't have a good game. Chat was bullied by the first moment to the end of the game, and he was minus 19. The units with him did not work. Period.
Yep.
He played a lot with the starting unit, so that is part of the deal. But it was not great. He wasn't able to really beat Nurkic to open the court as much as he could have. He had just 1 3, which is pretty uncharacteristic when you play against a guy that is a slow-footed center. So it was not a good game for Chet Holmgren. And sometimes we have to realize that and say that. It was not good. OKC scored the ball below their standard margin, especially if you consider the quality of the shots. They had 29% from three, and they still won the game. There was no Devin Booker on the other side, so that has to be discussed.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think the rebounding issue could be a little bit worse if you have Book there that scores 20, then instead of, I don't know, Saban Lee playing all those minutes.
Yeah.
So probably with the full squad, this is another story. But it's also, hey, OKC didn't play their best ball and they still were able to win in Phoenix. So I think that is something important. And especially they were able to bounce back after a terrible moment in the fourth quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, like they did against the Mavs. So I think that this is valuable moments. They should be able not to get so down in points. There, we had a Twitter question that was asked to both me and you about, hey, isn't it concerning that OKC had 29 games in this season, nearly half of them, where they were down more than 10 points? To a certain degree, to me, the answer is yes. They should be able to be better. They should be able to control those moments, especially because I feel like many of those minutes happen when OKC is starting games or in third quarters. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the second units, both the one that Shea leads at the end of the first quarter and also the fourth quarter one, are kind of good lineups.
Yeah.
So it is a bit worrying, a little bit worrisome, but it's year one of this iteration of the team.
Yeah.
And they are first in the West.
Yeah, it's a great reminder because this team is not frozen in time. This team is not like hit their final destination. Like it should, and that should be an encouragement, to this what they are. It's like this is a really good team. Yeah, I'm looking at lineups. The starting lineup currently, according to Cleaning the Glass, for the season in 1,381 possessions is a plus 3.5.
Yeah.
You put in Isaiah Joe for Giddy, it's only 197 possessions. So it's like 1,000 and change possessions more with the starters. But it's a plus 29.9.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty good. And then you put in, oh wait, this is actually not even a lineup that's possible. The next most played lineup, this is bizarre, by the way. It's only in 127 possessions. But the next most played lineup for the Thunder, and this is another thing where it's just hard to even get a like crystal clear look at this team because they play so many different lineups. The third most played lineup: Vasily Micic, Kaysen Wallace, J-Dub, Wiggins, and Chet. That's a third.
It's a pretty good lineup.
That's the third most played lineup, a plus 13.3. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the next one, the fourth most played lineup, in 117 possessions, still not all that much.
Yeah.
Remember, the starters have played 1,300 possessions together. This is 117. Shea, Casey Wallace, J Dub, Giddy, and Chet. So Casey Wallace in for Dort.
Yeah.
And 117 possessions. What do you think it is?
No, I know what it is. I was just looking at it before we started the pod, so I know.
Plus 21.
Yeah.
Like it's good, but it's also in like what do you do with 117 possessions? Like I don't know. There's too much. It's too noisy within that because you could have had like some. We don't even know who it's against. Like we don't have like, all the information there. When you get up to 1,000 minutes, it's like all right, everything all flattens out. But in 117, it's too hard to know. And that's why you kind of look at on-offs, with this team. And Shea leads the team in on-off at a plus 11. Isaiah Joe's second at a plus 8.8. Kenrich Williams is creeping up there because it wasn't so good for a while. But I thought Kenrich, we haven't mentioned him yet. One, cool haircut, Kenrich. Two, he's a plus 4.5. And I'll bet you that number is like way up there more recently.
Yeah, wait for Mike, his buddy Mike, to come back to the team, and you'll see. I'm so glad. I'm so glad he's back.
Oh, I'm so glad to have Mike back. I wish we could have seen a little bit of Mike. Maybe we'll see him play against the Lakers tonight. Because what's funny is, you want to have these like periods of like, okay, let's get this guy acclimated to the team. Like this dude knows how to play with these guys.
Yeah, just pick and pop to death with Shea. I just want to see that.
Please. There's only two other players outside of Shea, Joe, Kenrich that are a plus. Do you know who they are?
I also watched that before we started recording. It's one is Baba.
Well, Vava's at the top. Vava was a plus 14 in 318 minutes.
It's J Will and I don't know. I don't remember the other one.
Usman Jang.
Us is dematerialized somewhere. He's no longer.
Oh no, he's materialized as an awesome, aggressive G League player. So watch out, world, for Us. Yeah, everybody else is a negative. Dort -2, Casey Wallace -4, Wiggins -5, Chet -5, J-Dub -6, Giddy -6.8. And then like we have like Lindy and somehow Bismack Biyombo is a plus 33 in his 9 minutes, according to Cleaning.
Yeah, it was awesome against Phoenix. He provided some good minutes defensively.
Yeah, what do you think of Bismack? Give me some Bismack takes.
He was exactly as advertised.
Yeah.
He also switched for 2 possessions.
Yeah.
Wasn't bad.
That too. Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, trying to set screens, try to run. He smoked the layup, but he somewhat got it back, I think. So, yeah, nice. He's a guy that can play for just when Nurk starts to be a bully, put him there for 5 minutes and see.
Play him for 7 minutes and 22 seconds. Why don't you?
Yeah. I want to see Mike, though.
I want to see Mike.
Yeah. And J Will was not playing badly. Is there a timeline for him? Is he hurt?
No timeline. Knee sprain.
Yeah.
My guess is that they'll be real careful with him because I do think there's like a desire to see what he looks like in playoff basketball.
Maybe he does 8-8-8 for another time.
He was really good in that playing game.
Yeah.
He's kind of a forgotten one in all of that, but he played well. I give him a lot of credit. But yeah, it's really interesting, and as we kind of started the show, it's about Shea. Like everything is about Shea, and I know it's kind of easy to gravitate toward like the other good things that are happening within the game, but like the numbers scream Shea, and the game screams Shea with how important he is.
Yeah, he's just the best player right now. You can say, I really think that OKC needs to be number 1 in the seeding for him to win the MVP because Jokic is playing out of his mind. And if Shea can lead this team to the first place in the West, I think that, I mean, voters can say, yeah, Jokic was great, but this guy led the youngest team in the league to the number one seed in the West.
Mm-hmm.
He is the MVP,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Yeah. Yeah, Shea leads the league in total points, total steals. He is the best player in EPM by like a pretty significant margin. I don't know how many voters are going to look at that. Look at win shares. Shea is number one in win shares, just barely over Jokic. Offensive win shares, he's number one over Jokic. Let's see. Box score plus minus, all the box score stuff goes to Jokic. VORP goes to Jokic by a pretty significant margin. But yeah, I mean, it's not there. There are other statistical measures that try to encapsulate everything, like win shares and EPM, that say Shea.
Yeah.
It's not, because in the past it has just been like very dominantly Jokic in like every single one, and it's not the case here. And some of it is like with this estimated plus minus from dunksandthrees.com is that the defensive EPM is like defensive estimated plus minus, like, is it heavily in favor of Shea, where Jokic is actually negative here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shea's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's like 12th or 13th in defensive EPM. He's 4th overall in offensive, and number one with certainly with Embiid out. Embiid was number one by a good margin, but Shea's number one now. So if those are things you care about, I think Shea's the guy. And I think, the fact that the Thunder have already played all of the teams that are in the top 4 of the Western Conference is such a huge advantage.
Yeah.
When you're looking at if the Thunder can finish first overall, it's still going to be really tough. Like, I don't want to act like it's some kind of lock.
No, they have a tougher schedule compared to Denver and to, well, no, same. Well, it's in the same ballpark.
It's in the same ballpark as Minnesota. The only difference is that Denver plays Minnesota 3 more times, and they play the Clippers once.
Yeah.
Minnesota plays the Clippers another time too, and Denver 3 times, as I mentioned. So like that to me is the main difference with those teams is that, and then the Clippers have the Nuggets, the Wolves, they play the Bucks twice, they play the Cavs, they play the Sixers twice, which is supposed to be one of their tougher opponents.
Yeah.
But I actually don't even know when those games are. I mean, that significantly matters because Embiid thinks he's coming back. Seemed hopeful. I don't know. We'll see.
OKC cannot afford losses like the one against the Spurs, which was what it was. I mean, it's not that
it's just a dumb loss. I mean, like it was an effort problem.
Yeah,
with the Thunder, and they did that the same. It's basically just like the same storyline as the game against the Pistons.
Exactly.
Where it was like they look across, and this, it's funny because this happened with them as the team that did this to other teams. Where you look across the other side of the court, and you're like, we're gonna smoke these bums.
Exactly.
Like these guys we're gonna kill them. We don't even 60% guys. It's not like they like put their hands in the huddle and they're like, all right, 60% on 3. They're not doing that. But it felt like that's the thing with the Thunder defense is when it's not good, you can see it. It is just on full display.
And you can just measure that by the amount of wide open threes on the opposite corner, in the weak side corner, that they allow. That is the problem. I mean, you can just use that as a proxy of how bad they're doing, because it's late rotations. There are moments where you can see, okay, everybody is on their guy. If there is a double team, then there is the guy who is really looking towards closing out the weak corner. If it's not, if it's late, if it's you can see like hands They're thrown up with just, okay, I'm here to contest, but it's not real.
Yeah.
That you can tell. And there were moments against Phoenix where it was like that when they tried, I think, too much to double KD. And if you do it in the wrong way, then you're just cooked. Same way with Luca. I mean, you can't really lazy double team Luca because he'll just look over and pass it to the corner and you're done. So yeah, I think part of that was, yes, having bad defense, and part of his luck, because I mean San Antonio shot the ball still too well
Mm.
for their purposes. Now, granted, they are playing a little bit better as of late, so maybe this is the starting of the Spurs find themselves somehow. Maybe they found a good player in the draft and they're ready to go. Who knows? That guy seems really good.
He's
So,
a good player.
yeah,
He's going to win Rookie of the Year.
yeah,
I think that's a wrap. And
yes. Everybody is finally we can call it. Yeah, it's okay. We have still 20 games. What if Chet averages 35 points in the last 20 games? Do we have to call it now?
oh, dude, people are just so ready to call everything. It's
Yeah,
funny. You watch like any team in the West that just has like a nice streak. It's like I think we believe in them as a contender now, right? The Dallas Mavericks won 7 in a row.
yeah,
Like, I think Dallas is going to do it this year. I think this is their year.
yeah.
And then they are 6-4 in their last 10. It's like, I don't know. I'm back in the play-in now. It's just,
Can they make the play now? Yeah,
right.
it's yeah. I mean, the thing about Wemby is, I mean, you said it right on Friday. They really want that to happen.
Yeah.
And now that that game happened, okay, we're ready now. It's good. We don't have to discuss it anymore. It's Wemby over Chet. Okay, if that is what you want, don't you like the idea of having 20 games where these two guys are amazing and you can still have moments where you say, okay, that guy is great, but also, why do you have to be so worried that Chet could be better for 20 games?
Yeah, it's true.
It should
We
be
don't.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because if Chet is better than Wemby over the past 20 games, it means that something special is happening. And maybe Wemby wins it anyway.
Yeah. And it's not impossible that something like that happens. Like, yeah, you're right. You don't have to call it. But
Yeah.
if the storyline continued like this, like, yeah. I mean, Wemby's been crazy. I was in a text group with somebody this morning. They sent me Wemby. Let's see, what is it? Over the last 8 games for Victor, 25 points, 11.8 boards, 5 assists, 2.4 steals, 5 blocks. It's
No,
just
he's insane. And I mean, I think that in terms of pure talent and things that he can do on the court,
mm-hmm.
he's just the better talent.
Yeah.
Is he more functional to winning? No, I think. I'm not even sure. Just to say that, I'm not even sure that if you switch the two, then OKC has a dramatically different record, because like Wemby's defense is that good.
Wemby's defense is really good. His shooting has gotten a lot better
Yeah,
recently. Chet has just been good all season.
sure,
And so I don't
sure.
know.
So just appreciate the fact that Wemby is amazing, but I don't feel the need to call it today. It's probably going to be Wemby. It was this on June the 1st, on July the 1st, on August the 1st, and like for the entire season, it has been, yeah, maybe. But it's probably Wemby. Like, can we just have the last 20 games of the season where we still have fun with it? Where when Chet has a great game, we can say, oh, okay, this Rookie of the Year kind of thing is actually interesting because Chet
Mhm.
makes it interesting, even
Mhm.
on a year where you have this super duper generational player.
Yeah. I think it's a good word. That it's I mean, people want to say it's over, but it's
Why?
still March.
If the season ends today, yeah, sure. But
Season ended
thank God we have 20 games.
today. Yeah, there's still time. And I think it's like pretty obvious that like the MVP race is no one's like locking that up yet.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, it's a lot of it is going to depend on where the standings are, and the Thunder sit at first right now. Like, they need to go get this game in LA. Like, go in the game in LA. And then, like, show up and play defense against the Blazers. Please. Just like, I think the game against the Spurs should be and it should have been a moment where they didn't get there last night with the Suns, but it should be I'll use an old term of Mark's is tightening the screws. They need to tighten the screws a little bit on that defense.
That reminds me about Poku, and I'm sad now.
Yeah, remember when Mark said that he wanted that Poku they needed to tighten the screws on Poku?
Yeah, vividly.
Oh,
it's when we started to
term.
when we started to say, oh, maybe no, maybe it's never going to be a thing.
Poku did play for the Swarm, I think is what the G League affiliate is, and had some points and stuff. But yeah, the Thunder's next couple weeks, really the next four-ish weeks have a lot of winnable games. In there. The second to last week of the season is going to be tough. Philly, Boston, Indy on the road, or it's New York, Philly, Boston, Indy on the road. That's a really tough week. And then you're basically have a week left until the playoffs. But until that week, LA, Portland, Miami, LA and Miami, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get out of those teams, but they can be good. Memphis, Indy, Dallas on national television next Thursday. Memphis again, Utah, Toronto. Man, that's an interesting week because they have 3 full days off before they play Utah at home.
Yeah,
that's they're going to get some good rest right there. And then it's Milwaukee, Pelicans, Houston again, Phoenix. That's actually kind of a tough week before they play the Knicks, Sixers, Celtics, Pacers. Those 2 weeks are actually pretty tough. Yeah. Those 2 weeks will tell you a lot. Those 2 weeks will determine who gets the first seed in the Western Conference.
Yeah, and you go at Boston on April the 4th, where Boston may be locked up in the first seed.
Yeah.
They also have to play Milwaukee, the second last game of the season. Dallas again. It's going to be interesting. What's the number of wins that you think guarantees the number 1 seed in the West? What record from now? 16-6?
Yeah, if they go 16-6, they'll lock it up. Yeah.
That's a tough one.
It's really tough. I mean, I think they'll lose one of these games this week. So that's 1. They'll probably lose 1 next week. That's 2. You can only have 4 more the rest of the way.
And have 2 times against Milwaukee. Have 2 times against Dallas. They may sneak 1.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's probably going to be something like 14-8. 56 wins.
56 wins would be amazing. That'd be 6 or 10 wins more than I predicted to start the season.
Yeah. Yeah. You said that you were excited about 46 wins. Excited, you said.
Listen, if you got to bring it up, I got to bring up the context of my excitement. It was just that they're making the playoffs again.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, they're 42-18. They're 42-18.
Isn't this exciting?
This is insane. Yeah, it's exciting.
It's exciting.
Did you see the box score last night?
No.
So I posted the box score of the last time the Thunder were 42-18, which was 2016. They were 42.
Wow.
Starters: Russ, Kevin, Serge, Andre, and Steven Adams.
Wow. I love that team. That team crushed my soul.
I loved that team in the playoffs. I kind of hated that team in the regular season because they could not beat the best teams in the league that year for whatever reason.
They won 55?
I believe that's right. Let me look back at 2016 standings. Oh, it's kind of fun to go back and look at the actual standings. So the Thunder won 50. They were 55-27. The trouble is the Spurs were 67-15 that year. And that's not even the best team because the Warriors were 73-9 that season.
Yeah.
And where 55 wins just felt like we're some like second class citizen here. Remember? Like it was just like it felt almost hopeless. They were 55-27 and they were 18 games back of the first seed. 18 games. 18.
Yeah. 1-8.
The Lakers that year were the worst team in the West. They were 56 games back.
Yeah.
56 games back. I mean, that is great. I mean, that is truly a crazy, crazy thing. The Rockets were 500 and 32 games back of the first seed. 32. Yeah. I mean, that is just absolutely.
Well, that year was insane. And the thing, I mean, wow. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, we don't have to go there. But like that was the last time that they were in this position, and what's funny is, 56 games back. I mean, the 8th seed was as far away from the Warriors as the Spurs are from the Thunder right now.
Yeah.
It's the Spurs are 29.5 games back right now.
And that team was, to me, one of the what ifs was, why did they have to sign Kenner the year before? Because the best unit of OKC. Like, can you imagine second unit being with Serge as the center? You just play spread pick and roll with the second unit for the entire year. Can you imagine?
Yeah, Kenner was really good against San Antonio. I'll say that. They started.
I know. Just the one series is one series. I'm thinking about.
That Spurs team was really good. Yeah. But hardly anybody thought the Thunder were going to get past the Spurs, and then they started Kenner and Adams, and that's what helped propel.
You're right.
It's tough. I mean, honestly, just like Kevin and Russ, don't be absolute garbage at the end of Game 6.
Yeah.
Even let Clay go off. Like, Kevin, don't be just a steaming pile of garbage at the end of that game.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. By the way, Kevin, speaking of a steaming pile of garbage at the end of the game, see how many points Kevin Durant had last night in the fourth quarter?
1. 3.
I'm pretty sure he had 0.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that's right. Let me double check.
Giving a bucket?
I don't think he even got a bucket. I think he just game 6'd it. Yeah, 0 points. 0-4.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Wow.
And you know what that means? He's probably joining the Thunder. He's coming home. Okay, hypothetical. It's in a couple years. Kevin's a free agent. And he says, I want to come back to OKC. And let's say that you're Sam Presti. And the Thunder are the favorites heading into the next season. They're the favorites. You have Shea and J-Dub and Chet at the peak of their powers. Are they
still titleless?
Yeah, they're still titleless. Yeah, they don't have a title. Kyle Filipowski is the 6th man of the year, coming off a great year.
How they are not winning a title if Kyle Filipowski is 6th man of the year?
Season. They lost in the West Finals to the Nuggets.
Oh, come on.
And Kevin calls, and he's like, I want to come home. What do you say?
Home? How dare you?
How dare you? I desperately want and need a statue of myself somewhere. And they're not giving it to me in Golden State.
Go play with the Wizards.
They're not giving it to me. They're not giving it to me in Brooklyn for sure. They're not giving it to me in Phoenix. We haven't gotten out of the second round.
It's a...
So I'll come for the taxpayer MLE.
Money, OKC will not have money there. So that is already probably it's the vet minimum. But it's not the point. I don't know. It's probably a yes. But it's also like, no, why now? You had every possibility. I mean, if it's next year where OKC has real space and they can really do that if they want, and he wants to be part of that like run, maybe. Like KD next year, I would really think about it.
In this, like if he asked for a trade in the summer,
Yeah. I would really think about it. You can give Kazon, Giddy 5 first rounders, 4 first rounders. Who cares?
oh, get out of my face with that. No way.
Okay, just do whatever. I mean, I don't care.
That is not a whatever. Kaysen and 5 first is not.
Like 3 next year, like 2 next year, 5 picks, 4 picks. I'm not thinking straight. I'm not concocting a trade right now. I'm
not giving up Filipowski for KD. I'm not doing that.
Anyway, I would be inclined to do that next year because I really think that OKC with a guy like KD as the 4-man could be insane.
What an absurd proposition.
Yeah. Like who's guarding them?
Nobody.
Exactly. Like in 3 years, yeah, whatever. You're an old man, buddy. It's not that how it used to be.
He came off the bench and was just like a lights out shooter. You wouldn't want that?
I would think that in 3 years is going to be irrelevant.
I don't know. I mean, you think, but I don't know. I mean, LeBron's still going.
Yeah, that is LeBron James.
I know this is Kevin. Kevin's still really good.
Yeah, but in 3 years.
I mean, I don't know. Does he look completely declined right now?
No, not completely declined.
I know. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That's why I'm saying next year.
Just bring him on next year.
Yeah. I mean, Phoenix is not. Well, depends a lot on Phoenix. But what if you demolish Phoenix in the playoffs?
Then he will definitely want to come to your team.
Exactly.
That's the pitch. That's part of the pitch. Is like, how can you beat Kevin in the playoffs? That's the pitch.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it's Giddy and 2 seconds from Phoenix to complete the deal.
Oh man, I would say hard no, hard pass. Stay out of here.
Next year? Like, are you serious?
On all of it, man. I want to do it without him.
Yeah, sure, okay.
I want to do it without him. Stay over there, Kevin. You can go ahead and lose in the first or second round with somebody else and watch the Thunder rise from your house. That'll be much sweeter. Watch Kyle Filipowski come here.
Let me ask you this, just to see how confident you are. You trade Kayson Wallace, Giddy, and 4 first-round picks. Oh. Let me finish. But you are guaranteed a title. Just one. Or there is the other apple, the other pills, the red one.
Give me the red pill. Give me the red.
Where you don't know. It may be 0.
Really?
Really?
I do.
Yeah.
Wow. I believe in this.
You're a reckless gambler.
Yeah. I believe in this team, and I think it'll feel so much better. I think it'll feel so much better to win it without him.
Wow. That I did not expect. Yeah. Guarantee a title. That is in Oklahoma City. You can go to the parade.
Yeah, but Kevin will be there.
Sure. But you are on the you can probably go on the bus if you want. With like a ton of Moet Chandon or whatever champagne they're using.
No, I'm
you can be drunk on the bus.
I'm mostly
on the parade bus.
I mean, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be amazing?
Yeah, would you not bet in, take sell this, just do that?
Only if Kyle Filipowski's also there with me.
Okay, you can have that.
All right. Okay, I'm back in.
You really
I'm mostly joking about all of this, by the way. I think it's just a fun thing to think about.
Yeah, it will not happen.
Yeah,
but speaking of Filipowski and the concept of who's the best player to pair with Chet,
Yeah.
I just think that whatever 6'9", 6'10", 7 feet tall shooter you can add, it's going to be mostly fine, especially if he's a little bit of a rebounder. Because
Yep.
Chet can do so many things defensively. If you want him to be the KD defender for half the game, he can probably be that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean it's like a fun thing to think about, but I think I do think that there would probably be some genuine thoughts about Kevin wanting to come back at some point here, just because I think it's probably a natural thought to have about this organization. But I just think it's fun to think about. And also the other side of this is that maybe it's not Kevin, but there's gonna be some genuine crazy things that could be put on the table for the Thunder because of the assets and the kinds of young players that they have outside of their big three. That
Like
they
DFS in the chat saying that he'd rather have 0 championships than 1 with KD. Those crazy things, you mean?
DFS.
You're
Shout out to DFS.
you're such a pure fan. I kind of respect that.
Yeah, I'm with you, DFS.
You're kind of crazy, but also a pure soul, which I respect.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great stuff. Yeah, I mean, it kind of illustrates though that there's going to be some crazy stuff on the table for the Thunder because they do have all these high level assets that could get you a really good player at a spot of need. And again, just a reminder, we're still just at the beginning. We're on the doorstep of what could be for this team. And I know that there's frustrating moments and they're imperfect in a lot of ways. You know,
there is no frustration whatsoever this year. Frustration.
But the thing is, there should not be. I agree. I'm not frustrated watching the team, but I think there's a part of the fan base where that's creeping in, and it's just man, let's just understand that this is the beginning of this, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I just still can't believe that they're this good. And I will say this: the majority of the conversations I have outside of Twitter, and maybe this is just a Twitter problem, the majority of the conversations I have outside of Twitter are about how incredible this season has been. And I'm
just watch Shea and just be in awe. J-Dub hit some. We need to talk about that as well before we go. He hit some very stupid shot. I watched that long pull-up jumper. I said, why are you doing that? And then just going in. This team is crazy. And yes, we have stuff that don't work. And the beauty of it, which is something that we need to discuss, when you're able to put your finger and point to the issue, this is why they lost. This is what you can do better. The fact that on year one, you can really pinpoint a lot of issues already. In every loss, you say, why did we even lose this game? Okay, because that, and that. Wow. This is already something extremely good because you kind of know what you can correct. And it's not just grab from the from some other team the perfect player to complement this. It's not exactly it's not the only way. The Timberwolves did that, and in 2 years it's paying off. But you can also okay, we need to focus on those things.
Yep.
And for stretches, the rebound thing. For stretches, they showed, okay, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get some help, maybe we can do it in an easier way.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing before we wrap up, or before we talk about other stuff, I got another question on Twitter, which to me has a pretty clear answer, but I want to hear yours.
Mm-hmm.
You have to trade 1 pick plus Giddey to get to, all the picks that you have in this year draft plus Giddey to get Cody Williams. Yes or no? On the other pill, you may have Giddy and Filipowski, and maybe even Jacoby Walter, if that is your thing.
I mean, it's not my thing, but you know that. I like Cody a lot. I wonder if he's going to have a long enough runway here. Is part of my thought.
He's efficient.
Let me pull up some of his recent stuff because it's been a few weeks since I've watched like clips of him.
59% from the field, 46% from three, 71% from the line, 3.3 rebounds, 2 assists, 0.7 blocks, 0.8 steal.
What's the rebound?
3.3 is not good.
Yeah, that's the thing is that you bring him in.
Come on.
You kind of want him to be the 4, right?
Yeah.
And I guess his brother just continues to play the 4, and he would play the 3. I mean, he wouldn't start. I don't know. Also, I know it's like really fun to think about the brothers being here. Do you really want your kid brother on the team? I'm just saying. Like maybe you do. But it's also just
it's a kid brother. They have like 3 years apart. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Really
but you know what I mean?
I would never work with my younger brother. Never, ever. But he's way younger than me, so.
Yeah. But you know what I mean though.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of it injects something into the team, and maybe it'll be really good.
You just want Kyle Filipowski. Say it already.
I want Kyle Filipowski.
Would you trade Giddy if it guarantees you to get Kyle?
Yeah, sure.
Would you trade Giddy anyway?
Maybe. Yeah. And we'll have a lot of time to talk about that.
Josh. He had 2 threes and he was okay.
He played really well in the second quarter, really bad in the first quarter, and didn't play.
I'd say really well. He played well enough.
He played well enough.
Good.
Yeah. It's a tough situation. He had like some nice moves in the dunker spot. You know, there was some stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I just want to play him with 5 shooters before we say anything. I think that
yeah,
more.
Yeah, and I think we'll see that. I do. I think that we'll see some more of that down the stretch here. Like there's still some games to kind of play around with for sure. I like Cody Williams. If you can just get him without expending a whole lot, great. I just worry about putting like a lot of eggs in that basket, I guess would be my thing. You know what I mean? And maybe that's dumb.
Sure.
That could end up being
really at dumb. 8, and you have to put an extra, like you did for Kazan. You need to put an extra asset to get him. Sure.
Yeah. Yes.
First for him? No.
Well, and also like the Thunder didn't even have to put in an asset. They just had to just take back some money, which they ended up using to get off of money that they signed that summer, but then got a play. I mean, it's kind of funny how it all worked out for the Thunder, in that like some people didn't like what they did, but the way they parlayed everything, it's like, why wouldn't you do that? You know?
Yeah.
So, give me just a couple thoughts on Gordon Hayward and how he's played, because we haven't really talked about him. Thanks for this
no, it's I think that defensively is a little bit better than what I thought. Offensively is a little bit worse, or a lot worse than I thought.
A lot worse, yeah.
The thing that I don't understand is the fact that he's never available for 3-pointers, which should be a good thing, because it should be like the fact that defenses are guarding him, but just I want him to be found.
Yeah, it's very strange. It almost feels personal when I'm watching. It's like an affront to me that he's not getting threes, like just like none. He hasn't taken one yet. Still hasn't taken a 3 yet.
Yeah,
it's bizarre. It is absolutely bizarre. But yeah, I'm still very much wait and see, because it still feels like he is still kind of feeling out where he fits on this team.
Yeah,
defensively,
like Gordon, you can jack up a few threes.
I mean, come on, Gordon. Come on. I mean, I don't have any real issue with the way he's played. Like he's been fine.
He's minus 23.5 net rating for the season. according to Clean the Glass.
Yeah.
Smooth, nice. Let's just. I just want to see Mike showing up at nailing like 4 threes in his first game. Just say, hey, Gordon, this is how you do it. You just nail shots. This is.
I know. Yeah. Mike, show him how to do it. Also, I thought Mike was on the court last night and it was Gordon. The 33 thing is now messing with my brain. Like it really like detached. Like my brain felt detached for a second as I was watching. Okay. Thanks so much for listening to our show. Be sure you're subscribed on YouTube to our show. We'd very much appreciate that. We'll have more YouTube exclusive content coming at you. When we get to the playoffs, I would like to do more live content on our YouTube page. So be sure that you are subscribed for that purpose. And if you're in the chat, which we have a lot of people listening in the chat, a lot of you guys are skipping out on work right now if you're in the US, which is, I'd recommend it. This is a good place to be. Maybe you're working alongside listening to DTD, but go ahead and just put in the chat where you're listening from. And as we kind of exit this podcast, I'll read off where you guys are at. So we have Evansville, Indiana, Daniel Klein. I'll read that the opposite way, the rest of the way, the name, then the location. We have Tim Crafton in Ohio. We have LJM Productions in Oklahoma. We have Zuri Basara in Australia. We have Hrogthar in Norman. Gabi is in Houston, Texas. Wow. Hey, shout out to Gabi, just living it up as a Thunder fan in Houston. Wow. Phantoms TV is in LA. Matt Lepp is in St. Louis. TKY is in El Dorado, Kansas. We have Dom Beckham in Virginia. Rod Gillum in New Zealand. We have Levi Hall watching from work in Oklahoma. Shouts to you, Levi. Hotspot Casino in Dallas, Texas. We have Chaz Barnes in Bristol, UK. Very cool. We have Chadamus in Yukon, Oklahoma. I used to live in Yukon. Philip Costa in Brazil. Wow, this is amazing. Another late night in London from Cameron Turner.
Come on, mate. It's 8:30. Come on, Cam.
The Dunghill is in Huntington Beach, California. Jeezy Cheesy 1 is in Norman. Grant Draper's is in Norman. Shout out to everybody for listening and for joining us live. If you are listening live, just go ahead and hit that like button for me right now. Just tap the like button. Thundering G is near Toronto, Canada. Man, we got everybody all around. This is really cool. We are grateful for you guys, and we hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. And we'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.